Hey folks, welcome back to another video. You join me on one of my usual dog walking loops on a rather grey and drizzly day. The dog goes running fast again. He's on one. It's late in the day, it's like 4 o'clock-ish, so he's been indoors most of the day, so he's got lots of pent-up energy. You can see kind of over to the mountains on the left-hand side. You've got the Glyderau, the right-hand side here with Cribgoch. Pretty misty and grim looking over there. It's quite windy today as well, so I'll try and find a spot out the wind a bit more for the chat. Apologies for a little hiatus on the video front. Personal life stuff and a bit of a leading to a bit of a lack of motivation for these, but back in the game now, and I'm off to Spain in a few days as well, so I'm full of psych again. I've been down the wall this morning, training, one last training session before I go away. It's kind of that weather in North Wales now, drizzly, I say cold, but actually it's quite mild today, where it's hard to get much done outside actually, which is why either you kind of, the best bet is to go away to somewhere like Spain, fingers crossed, COVID allowing, or get psyched about Scottish winter and stuff like that. And Scottish winter, well, that has been my thing in the past. I've done a fair amount. It's not my thing so much now. I'd rather be sunning myself in Spain, although we do spend a lot of time in the shade getting the primo conditions. I'm just trying not to fall over as I go through boggy ground here. Today's video, 2 parts to it. First bit about the Patagonia DAS Parka that I've been wearing for, I don't know, maybe a couple of months now. Time flies. I thought it was worthwhile doing a review of this, even though my name isn't Colin Haley and I'm not climbing in Patagonia and putting it through the most extreme of weathers that these jackets get put through. But I thought probably it's quite realistic. The use that I get from this jacket, what I do with it, is probably similar to a lot of other people. It's the same with a lot of our kit that's probably over-engineered for what we necessarily use it for. But I've had it a while and I've used it on dog walks like this. I use it mountain leader courses, teaching, scrambling, all that kind of stuff. So I've put it through its paces a bit. It's been out and about quite a lot. I've worn it shed loads and I've been out in the snow with it when it's been bitterly cold in the wind on Trivan the other day, for example, mountaineering days, damp days as well, and it's sort of tested its waterproofness. And I have for a long time been a massive fan of the Mountain Equipment Citadel, which is probably its main competitor. So I'll have a little chat about those in a sec. And then the other part was just about sort of mountain training courses, rock climbing instructor, mountain leader, mountaineering climbing instructor. A bit about getting deferred on them, because I had one yesterday, a reassessment for someone who got deferred by myself a little while ago. It was actually a really positive experience, and that's what it should be. So I'm going to talk about that. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to nip over here, put the camera down so I can go through the jacket stuff first without my arm falling off, because it's quite hard work holding this up for a while. It's quite heavy. So join me in just a sec when I've set that up. Well, there we go. Sorry if the camera's a bit on askew. It's hard with the rock. Sorry, the boy's catching my eye, jumping from rock to rock over there. So I really like this jacket, the DAS Parka, as I say. I was a Citadel user for years and years, and I properly beasted my Citadel. It was looking a bit tatty, a bit worse for wear. I've had it all over Scotland, Alps, Norway and loads of places, and it's a flipping ace jacket, that thing. It is absolutely one of those quality sort of legendary bits of kit. I love mine. Now it still hangs up, but I don't use it quite so often because I'm going for this thing instead. Now that Citadel is ace, dead warm, pretty good at keeping a shower off and what have you as well, comfy, all that kind of stuff, loads of pockets, but it's flipping heavy. The one I've got is even more weight. The newer one that's just come out, sorry, the boy's distracting me, is about 880 grams, I think. I'll flash it up if it's anything wildly different to that, but it's on the heavy side. And for someone like me who's carrying a jacket like that most days rather than wearing it when I am taking it out, it's quite meaty and it takes up a lot of space in the bag actually. And it would be a really great jacket for like mountain leader camps and stuff like that, but I just found it took up too much space, so I wasn't actually carrying it. So for me, that's where the DAS Parka comes in, because it's quite a lot lighter. It's about 300 grams lighter actually. It's like 556. For that lightness, it's almost guaranteed it won't be as warm really, isn't it? And people were telling me new technology, Prima Loft, is really good, and that's what the Citadel, the new Citadel, has as well. And it is really good, but it just doesn't quite compare to my old Citadel, and whilst I haven't worn the new one, I can't imagine that's any worse. The new Citadel has got a Gore Infinitum, I think it's called, something like that. I'll flash that up as well. So it's kind of a brand name waterproof outer. This is sort of Patagonia's own brand stuff, and I have had it out in quite a lot of damp weather. It's performed really well. It's not as warm as the Citadel. It is warmer than the sort of mountain equipment Fitzroy. That helps to put it into context, because probably between those three, they're the main ones that people in the UK use a lot. Features wise, it just does what you expect it to do, really. A good chunky zip, a nice chest pocket that's a good size, not map size, but a decent size for shoving things in. Two big hand warmer pockets, and then inside you have got a pocket on that side, I think, and that side as well, so you can chuck your gloves in there or a water bottle. They're semi-generously fitted, I reckon. It doesn't look silly, just worn normally over a jumper. It does go over some other layers as well, so you do have a bit of space in there for, like I say, for shoving that water bottle and putting it over other layers and everything like that. In the cuffs, my mate Mike, who works for Patagonia, pointed this out. They have got, if I can find them anyway, thumb loops somewhere. Where is it? It's hiding from me. There it is. So you have got that on either side if you're a fan. I've got quite long arms, so it fits okay, but after a while it does start to dig into my arm a bit, of the bit on my thumb a little bit. So whilst I do like thumb loops, I haven't been using those a massive amount. Adjustments, down there, it's a good length. Like, it definitely covers your butt. There's a bit of elastic that's not quite at the bottom, and that's got that goes under my bum quite nicely, so you can cinch it down with the the drawstrings that are in the pockets really nicely. So it keeps me warm, it keeps me toasty, plenty of movement. The downside, there's always a downside to these things, isn't there? There's probably two to this one. The hood, it fits over a helmet, just about. The thing I don't like about it is that's like where it sits naturally, so that leaves quite a lot of your face, even with goggles on, it leaves quite a lot of your face exposed. So you can pull it up like that, but as soon as you start moving, it just goes back down to there. So I am a little bit disappointed in the hood. Yeah, okay, you can wear a balaclava with it and stuff like that, but I just want a hood that wraps up and leaves just my sort of goggle space free, really. That's a personal thing, but that's like what I'm thinking about it. I'm loving it. I'm taking it out a lot at this time of year. Like I say, warmer than a Fitzroy, not as warm as the Citadel, to put it into context. So I hope that's a useful little overview. Now, the other bit I wanted to chat about was like getting deferred on a mountain training course, and like I say, it's been in my mind because of yesterday's experience, and I've got another reassessment tomorrow. It's something I don't like doing. I don't like deferring people, but there's a standard to be maintained, isn't there? So I have to, if they're not up to the mark on the assessment course. Now, the first thing to remember is, if you get deferred, it's okay to be upset, angry, disappointed, all those kind of things, right? That's a normal human response. When you get a result like that, and you do have those feelings, it's hard to take all the information on board that your assessor is telling you in terms of the debrief, okay? So most assessors, good assessors, will be happy to speak to you again in the coming few days, weeks, whatever, if it takes a while to calm down and for you then to sort of process all the information that they're trying to give you. And we're there to help you, right? I can't stress that enough. When I sit down at the beginning of a course, I expect everyone to pass. I do my best to get the best out of them, but sometimes people just aren't quite at the mark, and that's just life. That's fine, right? Secondly, it's okay to defer, right? I deferred on my mountaineering climbing instructor assessment it's some years ago now, and it makes no difference anymore, right? I was gutted at the time. It was slightly embarrassing because you build up to this big thing and you tell your mates about it, your colleagues and all these things, but however long ago it was, it makes no difference to my day-to-day life now. I've got the certificate, I passed it a few months later, and it's neither here nor there. It was a good thing, and that's another important thing to come from it, is take the positives from it. If you get deferred, that means you weren't up to scratch on some of the syllabus, right? Okay, ignoring that for a minute, it means you were up to scratch on a shed load more, and that's brilliant, isn't it? So you will have done really well on loads of stuff, and just some bits weren't quite right, okay? So for example, for me, that problem solving day on my MCI, it just wasn't good enough, right? I'd practiced loads, say practice makes perfect. It doesn't actually though, does it? Perfect practice makes perfect. I practiced shed loads. I practiced all these building blocks of different bits of problem solving, and maybe I didn't quite understand them well enough to put them together in the right order. So when I got a slight curveball on my problem solving day, I had to haul a climber up, and then there's a bit of damage in the rope, so I then had to switch systems and things, which makes perfect sense now. It's fine. At the time, it just, with the assessment pressure from myself, I didn't have the best experience on my assessment, to be honest, on a couple of days with the assessor. They did not make my life easy. I'm still a bit bitter about it, but regardless, it doesn't matter. It was me. I wasn't good enough, right? I should have been good enough, whoever was the assessor, whatever pressure they may or may not have put on me. I should have been better. But, in those coming few months, I got even better than I would have been, if that makes sense. So I really focused on getting so slick at that problem solving stuff. So for a while, I was probably the best person in the UK at problem solving. That's what happens when you get deferred on things. You get really good at that side of things. You sort of over practice, if anything. And then I went and did the assessment, passed it, and I say living happily ever after using that qualifications. So yes, be grumpy, be upset, all those kind of things. Get all the information you can from the assessor, whether that's on the day or later, but then take the positives and move on from it. I think actually a lot of people who have gone through and had to do a reassessment come out much better than they would have been if they just scraped through. They get so much more from it as long as they've got a good mindset. And this is why I was thinking of it yesterday, is because the lad who did get deferred a few months ago, you have to wait normally 3 months before a reassessment, he had been away and he had practiced, and he took it the right way. And yesterday on the reassessment, he did really well, cruised it really, and at the end of it, was happy and understood why he'd been deferred, and just came out a better instructor for it. And remember, it's just the start. As once you qualified, then you get really better and better and better because you're out using it and working with people. But once you've got that information from the assessor, like I say, whether it's on the day or later, you can access this via the Mountain Training Candidate Management System, your D-log kind of area as well, so you can look back at it. You just go away and practice those bits, don't you? Don't forget the other stuff as well, but you go away and practice those bits that gave you the issues on the assessment, and you just really consolidate that. And then you come back for the assessment, you don't have to show off those bits again. So let's say it was a rock climbing instructor assessment that you didn't do so well on. Perhaps it was the group abseil. So you just go away for those few months and make sure you smash out some group abseil stuff. And then you come back, you just show off those bits. You'll probably just do a couple of group abseils, focusing on whatever it was that you didn't quite get right on those bits. And away you go. Like I say, hopefully you'll pass and you get the same certificate as everyone else. Now remember, on the assessments as well, just not to build them up too much, because there's no pressure from me. I want everyone to pass. I expect everyone to pass, but I'm just out to have a nice time when I'm doing these things. But you do put a lot of pressure on yourself. It's never, on assessment, it's just not one strike and you're out. So if you make a bit of an error, a carabiner undone, no one ever defers for one carabiner being undone. You might defer on it if it becomes a theme throughout the whole thing. I've never deferred anyone for that. It's just one example. What actually happens is, perhaps on the group abseil, the problem solving element, someone has their hair stuck, for example, you weren't doing it either safely or that kind of thing. You get another go at doing it with hopefully a bit of feedback along the way as well. You get a second chance at it, and hopefully you smash that out, and you might have to do a third one or something. If you didn't get that first one right and you do the second one, maybe do a third as well, just to really, for us to make sure that you are completely on it. Sometimes we can put things down to assessment fever for sure. We try and get the best from you though. A mountain leader qualification, you will get something wrong on a mountain leader course. It's 5 days long. Of course you'll relocate wrong once. Just don't let it become a theme. If you didn't quite interpret those contours right, fine. Just don't let that become a theme and get all your contour kind of stuff wrong, because then we don't have any choice but to defer you on that sort of element. Okay. Assessments, a big part of an assessment is further learning, but that can only really happen if you are the required standard. So although I'm talking about deferrals and waffling on a bit, I know I'm waffling on a bit, equally we don't want to defer, do we? So as much as it's okay to defer and you just take it as intended, we don't want to. So just practice everything until it becomes sort of second nature, and you can do that setup on a rock climbing instructor course while talking to someone about what you're going to have for dinner, or what your favourite climb of the year was, or you're on your mountain leader course and you're navigating a leg at night and you're just doing it, you're just going, right, well, I'm just going to do a bearing and a pacing and I'll be there. When you get there, if you practiced it, you'll be super confident. Still look around, get like your 3 justification points and that, but just, you know, chill and take your time, and you just want to be mellow about everything. If you're stressed, it shows, because you rush things, you make mistakes, and you know, you're not as thorough as you should be maybe. I'm aware I've waffled on loads there, so I'm going to draw a line on it there and just say thanks very much for watching, and fire away with any questions at all. You know, I'm happy to answer as best I can in the comments or email or whatever. Just drop us a message anytime. Find us on Insta, find us on Facebook, click the like button, smash the subscribe button, all those things I ask every time. There's a buy me a coffee link down there so I can have more than beans for Christmas dinner as well. But other than that, I will do some more videos a bit more regularly now I've got some more time. So thanks very much for watching. There will be more videos coming up very soon.